What's going on today, everybody? Just kind of getting a little bit of a late start. We had a little computer issue, but we're on now. Today, we're going to be talking to Too Tall Model Car Garage. He's on YouTube. I got his logo up here. Really, really cool car builder. So we're going to learn some stuff about, and he has, I think he has a really cool job. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I have an idea. It's pretty cool. So, and we're going to see how that translates into the model building. But here we go. How's it going, man?
It's going.
It's going.
Thanks for having me.
So go ahead and plug your YouTube channel because I think I got it right. I didn't have it written out in front of me today.
You got it right. It's Too Tall's Model Car Garage. It doesn't pertain to model building 100%. I post pretty much anything, whatever I want.
Well,
Whether if it's, I sometimes post stuff about drag racing. I post stuff about working on real trucks. Sometimes I stream video games when I'm bored. So,
that's cool.
I have a PS4, so I can just go through the console and stream it on my channel. So what do you do for work? Well, I am behind the scenes. I'm actually a production worker. I work for Index Industries in St. Mary's, Kansas. It's more towards like hazmat, oil contaminant, stuff like that. Basically what I do is I work the production line for these bags called transformer sacks. And what it is it's the bag that the maintenance people put on the transformer, the power line transformer. And then they just transport them to the vehicle. Like that's basically what they're made for, I guess. But yeah, that's what I do for a living. And then,
so how does that translate and help you with model building?
It actually doesn't. I just
doesn't at all. Well, that's cool. I mean, some jobs you can learn.
It's just where I get money. So
yeah. No, that's cool. I have one of those too. I totally get that.
Yeah.
So maybe I misunderstood, but you're on a pit crew? Is that's kind of
not legitimately. It's more just a thing to do for fun. I used to drag race. I mean, not necessarily used to. Like say, I'm not currently doing it. But the last 5 or 6 years, I've been hanging around with friends that do it. And basically what I do is that I do help out with the car necessarily, if necessary. But the main thing I do is I film. I do all the filming and editing and stuff like that. These guys are a great crew to work with. I mean, it's not a side job or anything. It's really just for fun. So,
oh, okay. That's where the
we're just a bunch of groups of guys that fiddle around with drag cars and try to win races. So.
No, yeah. I mean, and that's got stress written all over it, though. I bet it sometimes.
It can be at some point. It just depends on what you're actually doing.
So where I seen videos. Where were you at this weekend? Were you at the drag strip or?
Yes, I was at. Well, this past Friday, I was at the local track, Heartland Motorsports Park. They were hosting the NHRA event for that year, or for the weekend anyway. I just went out to spectate. I mean, I've been a huge fan of NHRA all my life, so I figured I took a day off of work to go check it out. So
I mean, some of the videos, I mean, them cars were moving.
yeah, the nitro cars today they do over 330 miles an hour and 1,000 foot.
Whoa,
So,
that's nitro cars are the ones that are kind of like
the top fuel dragsters and what they call
funny cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a truck driver. Okay, now I get it. Okay, that's cool. That's really cool. So what do you like to build in the hobby?
Mostly cars and trucks. My main focus is it could be towards drag racing, but I try to build anything and everything. For like, I've actually got a lot of examples over here. I pulled some from the shelf. I've got drag cars, TV movie cars. Well, I'm really known for doing TV movie cars just because I do the ones that nobody has merchandise for. You know what I mean? Like not saying like the Batmobile, more like the cars that you see in Dukes of Hazzard, other than the Roscoe's patrol car or the General. I go in more of that direction.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay. No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I know there for a while you were doing. Oh, I can't think of the name. It's the Street Outlaws, right?
I had just started doing that actually, and I only have one build finished, and that is the Wayne Varley Mustang.
Which I mean that was a cool car on the show. Just
it's right here.
Oh, here we go. I'll blow it up so we can. Like I said, that's a cool car.
It's not entirely accurate. The real car itself was a 1980, I believe. This is the Revell 90LX kit. The scoop, it's pretty much box stock, other than the scoop. And then I added the bigger small tires. These are the AMT 1175 slicks.
Yeah.
And I just made the wheel wells a little bit bigger, and made the suspension a little bit taller and stuff, but it's mainly box stock.
So the back wheels you buy?
Yeah. Oh, they come in AMT sells 8-packs of drag slicks, and I believe there's 2 sizes, 1050s and 1175s. I think the main difference is the scale, because I think the 1050s are more for like 25th, and then the 1175s are more for like 24th.
Oh, I didn't mean that. No, it's really cool. I mean, because that stance that car has on the model is really, really cool. It actually makes it look like it should go faster than it does, right?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't do too much to the motor. It's got the original motor in it. I did add a tunnel ram intake. Pull the hood off here. It's got the tunnel ram intake from like a 350 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's really the 302 that came from the kit. So I just wanted to make this build a little bit easier because Wayne Varley was pretty much at the bottom of the list. So I just wanted to take my skills down that level before I go all the way up, But as far as the Street Outlaw series goes, my next plan is to do farm truck.
See, now farm truck would be cool. Are you going to do like the one with the before the motor upgrade or after the motor upgrade?
Whatever catches my eye. I think I might do the version with the 632. So I just got to find. I normally buy my 3D printed parts, so I'll just see what's around. go from there.
No, and that it's really cool. So what, other than Street Outlaws, since you're just starting on that, what's some of the other movie cars that you've done?
Well, less movie, more TV.
Okay.
As you can see behind me over here, I've got 12 roadkill cars.
What's a roadkill car?
Roadkill is a TV show is originally on Motor Trend.
Oh, okay.
Or it's a Motor Trend original. It's one of my favorite shows. I built 12 cars. 4 of them are actually autographed by Mike Finnegan, one of the hosts of the show. So,
no, that's cool.
Yeah, they're all back here. I wouldn't take it down, but take some time.
No, you're fine. You're fine because you got some stuff in front of you that we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah. I've also done Hot Rod Drag Week and Rocky Mountain Race Week cars.
Oh, okay. So what's the difference between that and like a regular fuel car? It's the frame, right? Or
well, Rocky Mountain Race Week cars are street legal cars because that's the whole point of the event. It's a combination between drag racing and endurance.
Oh, okay.
Because during the event, it's 5 days, 4 tracks, and you take your car to the first track, you can tow it there, and then you leave your truck and trailer at the first track. You race a couple time trials. You're trying to figure out what your average will be for the week. So you run a couple passes at this track. And then once you're done with that, you pack everything up into your car and you drive to the next track.
Okay.
And the main point of the deal is to see how long you can survive going around this 1,300-mile road trip. And yes, Fred, I have hosted a group build a few years back for this genre specifically. Fred was one of the participants as well.
And that's actually how I found you, is because of Fred in that group build.
Mm-hmm.
He did that group build, right?
Yeah.
So, and some of the stuff that, like, especially, you two both do, but like, I like just the plain ordinary style that you kind of have. You know what I mean? Like it's not over the top. It's not, all flashy. It actually looks like it could be on the show. And that's not easy to do sometimes, is it?
Yeah, it can be struggling a little bit, but as long as it can make it look real. I always try to capture every angle of the car I can that way so I can get every inch detail. So it also helps out with my commission builds as well.
No, that's cool. How do you like doing all that kind of stuff?
I actually tied both hobbies, the racing hobby and the model building hobby, together. While I'm out at the track with the Wilson brothers, I've made a lot of friends the last, 10, 12 years of racing. And I've been collecting models, and I'll look through my stash. I pretty much know what I have in my stash. I probably have about less than 50, maybe more, about 30-ish, something like that. I try to keep a small stash. But anyway, while I'm out at the racetrack, if I see a car that drives by that kind of catches my eye, hey, I have a kit for that. Maybe I can talk the person in the building. And it's usually people that I already know, that they're cool with me doing the stuff. And every person that I've done this for always has a smile on their face, because it's like they're holding their car in their hand. Like,
Yeah, no,
it's more mind blowing to them than it is to me, to be honest.
And some of those guys really appreciate the detail that you put in those cars.
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly people. Well, most of the people don't do what I do. So once they see it, it's like completely mind blowing. They say it's totally worth the money. So
yeah, I mean, so other than movie stuff and racing cars, and you said you do a little bit of trucks. What's your favorite truck that you've built?
Well, here recently, I have built. Well, it's up there. I built a replica of. Well, I've always been. I have a relative who works for a New Holland dealer, tractors.
Oh, okay.
And I came across this guy. It was actually a drag week competitor, Jesse Medaffer. He has a 1983 Chevy C10 stepside, and he'd been taking it on drag week all these years. He'd probably been doing this like 10, 11 years, something like that. But I recently built a model of his truck, and back in September 2020 was the race week 2.0, and one of the stops was the Topeka track. And so I went up there after work and I grabbed the model with me, and I got an autograph from him. So he thought that was pretty cool. I'd say that's pretty much the best one that I've built so far. Other than I do have something here. I participated in the Clone a Toy group build that was hosted by VG Model Workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And my entry was a Hot Wheels that I've had ever since I was a kid. This little Matchbox truck right here.
Oh, okay. That looks cool.
I've had this since I was too young to remember. But then I finished my entry back in January. But here's the big one.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I made my own decals. Well, this one's used and abused. I found a replica of what it was supposed to look like on Google, and so I just used that image. This is actually the detail. This is actually texture paint, so it looks and feels like bed liner inside.
Oh, okay. That's a cool tip. I like that.
Yeah. I've done it on a couple of my builds. But yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much it for trucks anyway.
So
I mean, I've built several of them. I would say between that white one was recent, but the John Deere one is my favorite so far.
wow, it is really cool. So if someone was going to get started doing into model cars, right, and kind of replicating what you do, what would be your biggest first tip?
Take your time, because if it doesn't look right the first time, you might regret it and want to start over.
No, that's a good tip. I mean,
I'm not a real patient person when it comes to building models. I mean, when I started doing this when I was like 10, I get one done in about 8 hours. So, but I've probably built, the average time is probably about 2.5 months now. because I actually take the time and make them look realistic.
So you're on that philosophy, like treat each part like it's like try to make each part perfect, right? That makes sense. What I'm trying to say.
To my standards, anyway. I mean, it's not like 100%. I mean, I've hit several things in my builds like that I've taken to shows and stuff that other people think it's not really big deal. You know, there's some builds that I'm surprised that I've gotten hardware for some of my builds that weren't real, that I didn't think too great. You know. But, yeah.
What is that? Because you laugh, so now I really want to know.
I am a huge Kiss fan. I've loved
okay.
the band since I was a kid. Well, that would have been, I was born in '93, so I've been a fan as long as I can remember. I've got a lot of merchandise, but it's all in the back room over here.
No, that's cool. So have you done? There's a model kit. I think it's a van, right?
I have seen it. But I've actually been thinking about doing my own tribute to them. There is that new Ford van kit that came out. I recently bought that, the one by AMT.
Is that the one that Round 2 just came out with, right?
I believe it hasn't been out for long.
Yeah, it's I think Round 2.
I picked it up at Hobby Lobby for like $25.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have an idea in the works of something in particular like that. But I've actually wanted to get my hands on those Polar Lights figures, because Polar Lights actually sells the Destroyer album, but they sell it separately in figures. I'd like to get my hands on one of those. One or two sets, one as collector and one to build.
Oh, so you're talking about like the Revell?
It's not Revell, it's Polar Lights.
But you know what I mean, like the old
the figure. Like, it's 3-dimensional figures, but it portrays the album cover from '76, I believe. It's Destroyer.
Oh, okay. Now, okay.
Yeah, but it's all. They sell them individually. Like, I think last I looked on eBay, they're probably about $25 a piece, which seems a little high for a figure. But that's just me.
You know what? You know what?
I've never gotten into figures myself. It'd be cool to. That would be the first thing to do if I got into figures. Those in particular.
No, that's really, really cool. And figures are easy to do sometimes, and then like those, they're gonna have a lot of different, like the makeup's gonna be the hard part, I think. You know what I mean? Because I don't think they kept it the same year to year. They always tried to change their makeup a little bit. At least a couple of them, right? I think there's the lead singer or the guy really out front, he kind of kept his the same, but
yeah,
really cool. So other than that, are you gonna do military stuff at some point, or are you gonna? I mean, Fred's pretty, Fred likes to do a lot of armor. I was gonna ask.
Not in particular. It's just cars and trucks are my thing. I mean, I might do figures once I get my hands on those specifically, but I kind of like the way things are going right now. All my kits I have are cars and trucks, so I try to make stuff work. I mean, as far as, well, not necessarily military. There's one kit in particular that I have built several times, and that's the Revell trucks, the series. That's the 76 step side, the 77 plow truck, and the 78 big game hunter truck. I have bought those kits several times, and it kind of has a military paint scheme. The big game does. I might do something like that. I thought about maybe. I've never built that kit with the plow, or I've never like necessarily done that series box stock. I've just tinkered around with it because I'm also a big square body Pontiac guy. So.
Oh, okay. That's all cool. So if you're gonna do a military thing, it's the old like 80s, 90s square body truck, right? The one that is just that dark gray.
It's more like 70, early 70s, late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, those are all cool, dude. I really and the cool thing is you can change up some of those truck series things because you have at least the ones that I've done where the truck, you can do different versions of the truck with just one kit. And I like that sometimes. Right. Sometimes it's really, really hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, I buy those too, like anything that's like 2-in-1, because I can save those extra parts for something else in the future.
So let's talk a little bit about tools. What's your go-to tool? You laugh.
This one right here.
Okay.
Or if I'm having a really stressful day, I play with this guy.
Has that got the drill bit on it? Or the
No, it's a cutting wheel.
Oh, okay.
Chicago Electric Harbor Freight brand.
So
I got 2 of them. I've got one for cutting and one for sanding.
So have you played around with at Harbor Freight? They have that. It looks like a saw blade looking thing. I just seen them the other day. They were. I don't think they've had them very long, but it looks like a saw blade, and it's actually meant for plastic, I guess.
I haven't been in that store for a while, but normally when I go there, I just either I actually buy the miniature drill bits from that.
Yep.
The ones that come in like 10 different sizes.
Yep.
I tend to snap those every now and then. So.
I bought my first set when I was lighting up the Deep Space Nine space station because 3 of those drill bits were perfect for the 3 different lights I needed. And I think they're like they're under $5, I think, to get that set, which is awesome. You know?
Yeah. I've actually used that drill bit in particular. If I get too characteristic in the detailing, sometimes I'll take the wheel and I'll drill out the center cap on it. Because, like, you know, some cars nowadays you see on the road, like one's like either missing a center cap or one's got 3, and well, you know, they try to blend the front and the back. You know, like the front tires have center caps and the back wheels don't. You know what I mean?
I think I do. You're talking about.
It's more like the older style model of trucks, like for say the square body Chevy, like the aftermarket wheels. They have that center cap piece where you just slip it in and put it on the axle. But then some people just ignore that and just put the tire on there and just make it look different, I guess.
It's really, really cool how do I say this? How how just changing up one little thing like that can totally make the difference in the car.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to me. And sometimes it's so like you can get so accurate with that stuff. Like you take a certain picture of it, like with a grass backdrop, and it actually looked like a real car.
Mm-hmm.
That way. And it's just cool how just a small little detail can do that.
Right.
So other than the hobby knife, what would be another tool?
Well, mainly a paintbrush or two. Because I'm still old school. I use rattle can for my bodies, my chassis, and all that, and everything else is done by brush. So,
What kind of brushes are you getting? The generic?
I usually buy the ones that at Hobby Lobby that come in like packs of like 5 or 6, but they're all different sizes. Because those tips on those brushes hold up a lot better than the cheap Testors brand. Because they're all like they blow up like that and stuff.
Yeah, it's really crazy when you start looking at the price of paintbrushes. And I'm not knocking anybody that spends the top of the line brush, but if you take care of them, they last forever. It doesn't matter if it's a $2 brush or a $25 brush.
Right.
And there's all different ranges there to where you can, like, the hair's different on the brush. And that's really about the only difference on some of those.
Yeah. This one. Not that one. Let's see if I can try to find it here. There's one other brush in particular that I enjoy using, and that's you brought it up, the hair brush, where it's just the little fine line tip or whatever. I use that for like rust spots, and sometimes I have a little issue with the chrome pins, and so what I'll do is I'll take the tip out of the chrome pin and I'll dab it on my bench a little bit, and I'll take a fine line brush and just dip it and just paint it with the brush. Because sometimes those tips will get gunked up with, or maybe they'll get like bent or something where they won't be able to.
But how is the result after using that Molotov pen like that?
It works.
It works?
Yeah. I mean, if I miss a spot or paint something I don't mean to, I'll just cover it. I'll just wait for it to dry and take that. I'll clean up that hairbrush and use the other color that I goofed up on and just fix it that way.
It's crazy how well that product works too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
real impressed with it. I've never used bare metal foil, and before people were talking about these chrome pins, I was always using the chrome paint and the hairbrush doing all my stuff. So for like the window trim, the door handles, stuff like that.
So which type of, are you talking about the Model Masters that you could get at Hobby Lobby? Because that's what I was using for a long time.
The Molotov chrome pins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what those are. I know I have one here.
But before the Molotov, what were you using? What type of
Testors, Model Masters, chrome, the legitimate chrome paint.
Mm-hmm.
Silver chrome, I think, is what they call it.
That stuff is really, really good.
Yeah. There's this new stuff that's come out called, it's like Mirror something.
Do not get it.
I hear.
No. I have firsthand knowledge, and Andreas is watching, so he'll chime in a minute. Do not get it. It is not worth like.
I've heard good things and bad.
So do you have your tester's bottle in front of you?
Well, I have just a decent one. I use
that's probably what, an ounce?
Yeah, something like that.
Right?
It's useful.
So the mirror, it's gonna, like, I was in the hangout when they were all kinds of irritated because they spent like $50 on this.
Mm-hmm.
And like double that container, but you're only gonna get one container's worth of paint. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like, it wasn't even half full, and it's not that big of a container to begin with. And I think it's, I'll have to go back and watch, because I think Gil even did. They were talking about it pretty good when Andreas was on his, but I want to say they spent like $50 on the container, and I could be wrong on that, and it was ridiculous. It's not worth it at all. And I mean, it works, don't get me wrong, but it's not worth it. You can find something a lot cheaper that'll do just as good a job or better.
I mean, I do. I have used paint, the chrome paint by Krylon.
Okay.
It's a little bit more realistic than the chrome paint. It has a little bit of a fade to it. Depends on what you're using. Because sometimes I'll use that for wheels. Sometimes I'll use that for bumpers. Sometimes I'll use that for like grill pieces and stuff like that. It just, to me, it looks a lot better than straight up chrome. You know, especially if I'm doing a build that has age on it, I'll either hit it with flat clear coat, or I'll spray some of that Krylon paint on there, and it'll just take the fade out of it.
Okay, I was just reading the chat for a minute. I wasn't sure what they were talking about.
Yeah, I've been scrolling down and seeing stuff.
Either Fred is talking about someone, or he just called someone.
He's talking about Jeff Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
Jeff's Model Garage.
Oh, okay. I got it now. Haha, that's funny. So you talk about spray cans. What's your big tip for someone trying to spray paint a car?
Well, just make sure it airs out in between periods, like when you prime it, and then let it set for about a week and a half. Because if you do it too soon, it'll crack the paint. Like, it'll spray on there, and then like you can sit there for about 5 minutes and actually watch it crack. Like, I've seen a couple builds that I've redone, and it's just like, I gotta learn to let it cure more.
So I'm really not good with the spray can. So do you mean like after you're done doing the 3 coats or whatever, let it sit for a week, or between each coat? Is that
between each? Well, the 3 coats in one day or whatever. Like, I usually let my coats dry usually an hour to 2 hours at a time. I have this set up out in my garage. It's on old school. I have sawhorses and a piece of plywood that I always paint stuff on. I've got a fan set up. I always crack the door open on my garage, and I set the fan underneath it so it blows the stuff out. And then I have a fan sitting on the table drying stuff. So, but usually about an hour and a half, 2 hours for the time in between coats, and then I'll bring that body in, let it sit for, prep. like what Clifton's saying. Prep is more important. Like, I use the tack cloths. Well, going back, I have a degree in collision, so you always got to make sure your panel that you're working on is very prepped. Like it's sanded to the accurate grit to make sure it has bite to it and stuff like that, and make sure like all the dust and everything's all wiped off before you prime it and everything. Or else you'll spray the coat and then you'll see dirt and then you gotta sand it out again.
Yeah, see, I mean, being out here in my garage, I totally understand that because, like, I actually have a tote that's clear,
Mm-hmm.
and I set stuff inside of it and then put the clear thing back on top of it. So that way, after a week, I don't come back out and it's just covered in bugs and dirt and.
Right. I've actually moved. I've moved my bench area around the house like 2 or 3 times since I lived here. And if you're in a room with a ceiling fan, make sure it's because dust will fly everywhere. And you gotta sit there and dry the dust off and stuff like that. Luckily, I'm in the part of my room where I'm in now doesn't have a ceiling fan. Yeah, that side does. It doesn't really affect the builds anymore. Anyway.
No, that's a good tip.
That's one of the things because the ceiling fan will spread dust everywhere. So.
No, that's a good point because it doesn't. You don't think about that kind of stuff because when my wife was in the hospital last time, they gave them these little bitty fans. They're probably like this. They're modular. Mm-hmm. Well, you can take that whole assembly apart. So I would clean the fan, clean all that stuff out, and then put it back together, throw it in the thing, turn it on, and bounce for a couple of days, and just let it sit in that box and just circulate the air.
Right.
Tends to kind of help. Or maybe not this time of year because, after a day, you're pretty much done, but because of how hot it is now. So what kind of clear coats and stuff do you like to do?
Well, I use Rust-Oleum products. I still have Model Master stuff in my stash. I really go for the Rust-Oleum Crystal Clear.
Yeah, that stuff's good.
I've never had any issue with that clear coat ever, especially with the metallic paints. The Rust-Oleum brand metallic paints. That's pretty much it. I'm pretty much an old school guy. I just buy the cheap stuff and make it work.
And you know what? I've seen we've all, anybody that's watched your channel, you do really good stuff with that.
Yeah.
Because I know me personally, I can't use any of the Rust-Oleum stuff. I can do the Model Masters spray cans, like when Fred was doing his paint tutorial. I've used that stuff and have gotten good results. But the Rust-Oleum, you really got to know how to work paint. At least that's my opinion. But I'm not good at it either. So.
Yeah, that's all I use. Rust-Oleum products and the testers and Model Master, what's ever left of it.
All right, Mopar has a question for you.
Favorite primer? Depends. If it's enamel, I use Do It Best brand, which is where you can get that at your local hardware store or anywhere. But then I have been using the Model Master Gray primer, which is a lacquer primer.
So Do It Best, is that like the company name, right? Is that what we're talking about? Okay. No, that's cool. No. That's
the cool. Ones I've used. The local hardware store, which used to be a company I used to work for, they sell Rust-Oleum products, and that's just what they have on their shelf up here. So I go in there and buy it.
No, that's really, really cool. Um, so you've let the paint sit for a week, right? We'll say a week. You clear coat it, probably let it sit for what, another week, couple days? What are you thinking?
Depending on how much time I have. I mean, I could let it sit for 2 to 3 weeks, just depending on how busy I am.
Because
once I get back to it, I'll put everything together.
Because my question is how soon are you putting that wax and stuff on there to shine up the?
I've never done that, to be honest. I just
okay.
Mainly all I do is what I call fine line detail. Like once the clear coat is on, and if it looks decent, I'll just go ahead and use the chrome pin and put all the fine line touches on it, and take pictures of it, make a video, and put it on the shelf.
Oh, okay. No, that's cool. I would assume from some of the builds I've seen that you
there's some builds. I'm less of a sander. I'm more of a I don't know how the way to put this though. I normally strip the paint if I goof up on something, and I just don't like to buff it out because I'm just that way. I mean, if there's like one small little flaw, depending on what it is, I could fix it with the fine line brush. If like the clear coat cracks or something like that, I'll just dip it in the purple pond for about a week and a half, or brake cleaner, or not brake cleaner, brake fluid, and just start over, depending on what it is. If it's something in particular, like a replica build or something that I'm working on for like a theme for a show, I'll just either restart on the body itself, which doesn't really take very long to do, or just make something work.
So when you're using that brake cleaner, brake fluid stuff, is it true?
I've only used it a couple times, but I've more used purple powder.
Oh, okay. But when you use the brake clean stuff, does that hurt the plastic at all once you're done?
As far as I know, it could sit in there for about a good 24 hours, and you scrub it with a toothbrush, and it'll come right off down into the plastic. Depending on how old the paint is, it may stain it a little bit. But then I can go in there and take some sandpaper and sand it all down and make it back to where it's bare plastic.
No, that's really cool. Because I've heard, sometimes that stuff can like totally change the plastic on it.
Right.
I don't know. You know how YouTube is. You watch one video, this guy has their opinion.
I was actually this hangout I'm in with on Friday nights. It's with I don't know if you've heard of these people, Martin Zeller, Spunky 739, and Pablo at Distinct Auto Detail.
Oh yeah. You're on what is it, Dad's group?
Yeah, DAD. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been in there a couple times. I don't think are they doing hangouts now?
Hangouts normally we don't do them live. We just have a link that we just get on, hang out.
Oh, okay.
So it's more off air than it is on air. So.
Because I know there for a long time he was posting it on the page, and I don't think I've seen one in a while.
I actually think Hangouts itself has like disbanded. I mean, it works as long as you still have a link. Because we were trying to get one together we were using Google Meet. And they updated their system where you can only be on like an hour at a time. So we went back to regular Hangouts, but then when we got back to regular Hangouts, we couldn't compose anything. So I just looked up an old link that we had been using for maybe a good year and a half, it still works. So that's what we use. But anyway, one of the guys I do hangouts with, Martin Zeller, introduced me using brake fluid for stripping paint.
Oh, okay.
I've only done it a couple times. So.
Yeah, that's a cool group. The thing that I was going to say is some of the groups have gone to that Jitsi program.
I did use it with a couple guys, Dustin Hinterland, what's his name, James Duff, a while back. I used to do hangouts with him. Haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, Dustin's a pretty cool guy. He's actually going to be on the weekend after Nationals. Okay. That's going to be an interesting show.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy.
Pretty cool, and he's not that far from me, which is kind of a plus.
He's in Idaho.
Yep.
Somewhere around there. Him and Mike North. They're both neighbors, I guess. Not legitimate neighbors, but they live in the same area.
So we've pretty much covered how you take care of the cars once you build them, while you're building them, right? So what do you do, like, when you're keeping them on a shelf? Do you take any care? You just kind of dust them off?
Well, I have a lot of model cars, so the shelves and everything, I do put some in cases. Just the ones in particular that I built for a main purpose.
Okay.
Like all my drag week cars in particular are in cases because they have autographs on them. So I want those to stay in pristine condition as long as I live. But then all the others, if it's mainly ones that I've placed with, I'll put in cases at shows and stuff. But I don't really have a problem. I just put it on the shelf. This new area down here, I've got enough shelf space to where it goes all the way down the wall. So I've got plenty of space as far as that goes.
No, that's really, really cool. So did you want to show any of the builds that you have done? So
yes,
you have a couple in front of you, right?
Yes, I have already showed you a couple already. The Wayne Barley one and Dust Devil pickup. And one in particular, in 2020, I did a commission build for a guy, one of the racing guys, local. He's not local anymore. He moved down to Arizona. But it was a repeat of my first kit. And I do have my first kit down here. It's a Revell 68 Firebird. This is the very first one that I built at age 10.
That's age 10? Wow,
yeah.
Dude.
And I got it done, between my dad and I, we got it done in 8 hours.
Wow, dude.
As you can see, I was in charge of the decals. They're not placement other than the Thumper logo.
Hey.
But anyway, fast forward to 2020, I did a commission build for a guy named Mark Zaffron. He's, like I said, he was a local. He's also a drag week competitor for the index classes. So he's not real too into it. It's more like a street car. But anyway, he wanted me to do a build of his car, a 68 Firebird. And I happened to still have it in the case ready to be shipped. And this is the same exact kit as the one I built at age 10. So it's gotten a little bit more detail. And in fact, I have a picture. I'm going to scoot my monitor over here if I can. Let's see. Oh, type in the password real quick.
Oh, come on. You know you want that to go all over YouTube.
Just typing it on my other computer over here. and I actually have. When I first did the build, I met up with him at the Heartland Motorsports Park track and took pictures of him. And that's the real car.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
So yeah. This build in particular is being shipped down to Arizona here in the next couple of weeks. It's just been sitting on my shelf for ever since the end of the year. So, anyway, recent builds that I have done. I just finished. Let's see. I finished the Wayne Varley build. Before that, I had a commission build. I did a replica of my buddy that over in New York, Bob Henry. I did a replica of his 77 Firebird, and that took a lot of work. Most F-body kits, like second gen F-body kits, they're more of Trans Ams than they are Firebirds. So, because the Firebird is the plain Jane version of the Trans Am. So it took a lot of work to convert it anyway. I built that, and then this one in particular is the 86 Monte Carlo lowrider.
Yes, that is cool, dude. I like
the lowrider part. The lowrider part is custom. It's mainly all the suspension. These decals in particular came with the kit, so it was a really easy build. I modified the suspension. The coilovers are basically lowered, and the front suspension is actually from that new El Camino kit that just came out because it comes with lowrider suspension.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same scale, so, and it's a G body, so I made it work. But yeah, it's mainly box stock. I've never gotten into lowriders in particular, but I just wanted to try it out. I'm going to enter this in the next local show, the lowrider class next year. Well, actually, I have one coming up in November, and I'll take it to. And then recently, I actually got in contact with Liv Scaffidi. She's a real popular in the car community. I have her on Facebook, and I recently built a replica of her Firebird Formula with an LS in it. And this one's right here. It's a 71 Formula. And this is actually a glue bomb that I saved from like 4 or 5 years ago. This one was the very first Formula conversion that I did. And this used to be a Trans Am body.
Oh, okay.
So it had all like the dress up kit, everything on there. There's the hood in particular. I didn't have the original hood, and so I filled the shaker in, and these scoops right here are actually Plymouth Duster 340 scoops. They kind of have that same look to them for a Formula, so I went ahead and used those. And then from Ron Olson over at 3D Model Specialties, I ordered his LSX 454.
Okay. That looks so cool, dude.
Yeah, that's a 3D printed LS motor.
That's so cool.
And it also has a 124 scale roll cage in it. I'm looking at a mirror here, so bear with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that cage in particular is his design. So, but it's made for anything 124 scale.
Yeah, it is really cool. So
I haven't met Liv Scaffidi yet, but I've always told her like if she's participating in Drag Week or Rocky Mountain Race Week, I'm 2 hours from one of the usual tracks that they race at, SRCA Drag Strip. So I always told her if she's ever around that place, I'd like to get an autograph for my collection. I do put this in a case. I just took it out for this deal.
So you talked about 3D printed parts. How are you liking some of the parts that you've gotten so far?
They are really nice.
Now, was that a resin one or a PLA?
I have no idea. I ordered from Ron Olson. He has an account through Shapeways.
Probably resin.
It's probably, yeah. I've never gotten into too far detail with that, so
okay.
I see what I like and stay shut up and take my money, pretty much. But
no, I mean that's really cool, and it's kind of crazy some of the parts you can get now with 3D printing, huh?
It's bizarre. I'd like to get into that, but it's a lot of spending time on the computer. I think I'd get more into that than actually building, to be honest.
With me, I mean, you can even see the printer. It's right behind me, and that is PLA. So I can't really. It's been in the high 90s, 100. So here, even with it just sitting, the PLA will just run out the nozzle because it's just so hot. Is crazy. So we've hit about that hour mark.
Okay.
Did you have any questions for me?
Well, pretty much everybody that's been on here since I've been watching has pretty much answered the questions. You're more into figures, right?
So I build anything on a sprue. It's kind of my gig. Like, I mean, I'm doing the Star Trek thing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the Voyager things, but I've done trucks. I mean, in some of the other older videos, you'll see the backing with all the model kits. Those are all kits that I've done, and there's Batman, there's a blimp, there's jets. I think next I'm gonna try to do a Gundam. But yeah, I'm and that's kind of how I keep myself not burnt out in the hobby. Is like I'll switch to a military build, and then a Gundam, then a car, a truck, back to a tank, and that's how I keep myself from burning out. It's just, right. And then I'm working on figures as I go along, because I don't want 5 or 6 builds going along. So this is one of the figures I started doing. Yeah. Oh, let's see if I can get the face to.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, skin tone is crazy on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's turning out. Oh, looks like we have a spam person. It's all right. I know how to deal with them. I think I know how to deal with them. Did you have any other questions for me?
Not in particular.
And you it doesn't have to be model related either.
What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Yeah. Well, other than chase around an 8-year-old. I mean, basically, I've been doing the model hobby for fun for probably the last 8 years. But I used to do sports all the time, and I just got too wore down, so I stopped doing that. And then, that was on. and then I mean, I'm a big video game guy.
I am as well.
And I got my son into it, so we play. Wait, what? Deploy wrench? What does that mean? What is he talking about?
I have no idea.
No idea either. But no, I'm a big. I'm going to say it this way. I'm a big Second Amendments guy.
Mhm.
Camping's a big deal. That's kind of how I, But I've been working 6 days a week for the last, 8 years. So like I had Saturdays off for a long time, and then yesterday I ended up having to work. Which thanks for letting me move the show to Sunday because
Yeah, it's no problem. I had nothing going on anyway.
it's.
Well, going back to video games, I'm more, obviously, more automotive stuff, but I've been having a blast with this game. Have you ever heard of the game called SnowRunner?
Nah, kinda. It's PS2 or PS5 or whatever, right?
It's PS. Well, I have it for PS4.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's out for the newer consoles. It's basically a combination between off-roading, trucking, all sorts of stuff. Mostly off-roading. You're hauling like real heavy loads through rough terrain. So it's kind of tedious, but it's fun. I mean, I could sit there on my butt for about 8 hours and play a game if I could, without even realizing that 8 hours flew by. Just so it gets addicting real quick.
Yeah, see, I had an Xbox 360 for the longest time, and then I upgraded to a Nintendo Switch for Christmas for my son, so that mostly so I can have my TV back.
Yeah.
He can take the Switch and he can be playing it, in his hands, or and I can actually watch a TV show or Street Outlaws if nothing else,
Yeah.
But yeah, video games for me has been. I was hoping my son would get into this hobby, but he just fell in love with video games, and that's kind of where he's at for the moment.
Believe me, I'm sure he'll get there at some point.
Oh yeah,
that's how my dad used to do it, and his uncles used to do it as kids, and that's what they actually introduced me to the collection. And my uncle was moving to a different house, and we were packing stuff, and he unboxed all of his model kits. And what he did was that he put the ones on the shelf that weren't broken and gave me the ones that still had the pieces, so it gave me something to do at home. That's pretty much how I got into the hobby. So
no, it's. Have you ever taken something you've seen on a video game and tried to make it yet? I've tried that a couple times.
Not
it didn't work out
yet,
for me.
But there's one thing in particular that I would like to try, and there's this truck on SnowRunner. They call it the Apache.
Okay.
And what it is, it's the '55 Chevy, but it's 6-wheel. It's on like military axles.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's crazy.
I do have a '55 Chevy truck in my stash, but I have to buy a secondary so I can stretch the bed out to make it 6-wheel drive. That's something that I'd really like to try one of those days once I get home.
Yeah, that definitely would be a project.
Other than that, I'm more of a I go when I'm over at the shop. We got a big screen at the shop and an Xbox One. So my buddies are also in Forza, so we play a lot of Forza 6, Forza 7, something like that.
So I'm going to answer Mopar's question here. So but unfortunately, that's kind of where kids are going, is computer related stuff. That's why 3D printing has taken off the way it has, because that's where the kids are at.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying it's wrong or right, or,
Totally agree.
But it's not going to completely change the hobby, but it's going to do that 45-degree turn.
Right.
And at some point it'll come back. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just the cool thing about all these hobbies is it'll tilt. I'll make the comparison for us. It's kind of like going from a car to a truck.
Right.
Or, a F-22, whatever it's called, to a F-16, or to a tank, or, it's just kind of the way the hobbies are now. Not one person does just one hobby anymore. Everybody's got a couple.
Yeah.
So, it's just crazy.
Are there any questions in the chat in particular?
I haven't seen any in a while.
I'm more than welcome to answer any questions on the chat.
I mean, you gotta love Fred's, yeah, that's a good point. And that. I mean, figures with the car kind of make it seem more realistic.
Yes.
But the figures have got to be in the right scale for the car, though. That's my
complaint. Right. There's only one build that I've done with that. I did a replica. One of my favorite drag week competitors is Dennis Taylor and his daughter Alex Taylor. Back when I was hosting the Hot Rod Drag Week group build, mostly everybody that was in the group build did one build, and I did 4 because it was a year's worth of time. I got my 4 done. I did a tribute to all the cars that Dennis had on Drag Week and still has on Drag Week today, and I did his daughter's 68 Camaro. But the one in particular that had the figure in it was, I was simulating the wheel stand that he pulled in Drag Week 17 in his 55 Chevy. Stood it up on the bumper, and he realized that it was on the bumper, and he just dumped it and slammed it down on the ground. It was a gasser too, so it broke the spindles. It blew both front tires out. It was a mess. But I have a diorama of it standing up on the bumper, and I have the figure inside it. So.
No, I just looked real quick. I didn't see any questions that we missed. Oh, what?
I mean, I do, if nothing else, I do have one more build I'd like to show you guys.
Oh, yeah. Go to it, man. Let me get rid of the words here. I got to go scroll up a little bit. Where'd it go? There we go. There you go. Here.
Yeah. One more build I'd like to show you guys. This one took a little time. I started it. I've always wanted to challenge myself for the local show over in Salina. They always have a theme, and this year the 2021 theme was weathered stuff. And I've done weathered cars before, but I kind of went a little extreme on this one. This is a 67 Pala 4-door. It is, in fact, the Supernatural kit, but with a twist. I'd never watched Supernatural. Never got into the show. In fact, I never even heard it till this kit came out. But I ended up kit bashing it with the bubble body 94 Impala SS 4-door. So it has the wheels and tires. It has the coilover suspension. Like, the lowered suspension on the front. It has the engine, transmission, exhaust, and I actually gutted the interior out. It has partial of the 94 interior inside, as well as the dash and everything from the 94. And then, that's the LT1 motor from the 94.
No, that is really, really detailed, dude. That's really, really cool.
And this paint scheme in particular, I found on Google Images. So
Found it on what? You broke up.
Google Images.
Oh, images. That's not what I heard.
Yeah. But yeah, the paint scheme was real easy to do. Yeah, it was. I actually have a couple decals that I made. I made a sheet of 1320 video decals, and see, that's the 1320 right there, and then this one in particular is a actually it faded off. Oh, I'll fix that later. But anyway, it must have peeled off or something.
It happens, dude. It happens.
The other decal is for a performance shop out here in Topeka that all the local racers do business with, called Seaver Performance.
Mm-hmm.
I took his logo and shrunk it down and made a whole bunch of decal sheets for it, because if I build like bracket racing cars and stuff, they'll have his logo on like the fender or up on the window or something like that. So I'll put that decal in there to make it look realistic.
Yeah, that's really cool, dude. I like all the detail and the paint. That's like I said, you do a really good work.
Thank you.
Really good work. I really enjoy watching some of the stuff that you put up too.
Yeah. I try to post what I can. I know some of my subscribers on my channel are here for different reasons, just because I post different stuff. But it's good to have all these subscribers. I mean, I never expected my channel to get this far. I mean, I was completely mind blown when I first started. I had 20. I was just like, wow, I'm getting pretty famous.
Well, and that's the cool thing about YouTube, and kind of, I call it a pain in the butt about YouTube.
Right.
Because you get, and it's not any of the people that are in the chat now, right? Because everybody in the chat, pretty much, we support everybody. It's not just and that's
as long as everybody that's in the community, if they sub me, I sub back. But most of the subs that I get nowadays are either fans, or Cletus McFarland brought me here, or Alex Taylor brought me here, or whatever. I'll click on their channel. There's nothing.
But see, now you get that what they're doing now is like they'll sub you, and then you'll sub back, and then they'll unsub, and that
right.
It's not irritating, but it's kind of like, it's not the end of the world either, but
right.
It's just like, I don't know. It's just the YouTube algorithm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But how have you liked YouTube?
I've enjoyed it. I started doing YouTube videos back in 2017, and here we are, 2021.
Okay. No, and it's really cool. Like even when you go on your channel and look at all the people that are subscribed to you, it's the who's of the modeling community for the most part. It's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to end this. I did kind of have to, I got the chores thing today since I had to work yesterday.
Right.
But I wanted to say thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been an hour and 20 minutes, and it's been really fun getting to know you a little bit better.
Yeah. I've been having a blast. I've been looking forward to this ever since we set this up.
Yeah. And I mean, I the interviews are awesome, and I love how each person is different,
Right.
which makes each episode unique.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, thank you for coming on. I will talk to you in a couple minutes. I'm actually just gonna mute you for a second because I'm gonna leave you on there because I'm gonna talk to the chat for a minute. Okay. So everybody that's on here right now, there is a couple people that I don't know how to get a hold of on Facebook. I want to try to get Hobby Barn on here. I don't know how to get a hold of you on Facebook, or even if you have a Facebook account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my email address in the chat. And if you're interested in coming on, hit me back. If not, I understand. It's not the end of the world. The other one is MoparNut62. I'd like to get you on here. I know you don't have a Facebook account. And then same with Clifton Smith. I'm really interested in getting you guys on here, but I'm having a hard time finding you on Facebook. That's kind of how I've been communicating with people. I understand some people just don't have. Okay, so yeah, I'll put my email on the chat today. Grab it and hit me up on email me back, and we'll get you scheduled in. Same thing. There's a couple people that have been on here today that I've been having a hard time finding you on Facebook, and it's not, like same thing with has a really awesome channel, and I love watching his channel, and I'd like to get to know some of these guys better and find out how, I think there was yep, and this guy too. Okay. Clifton, hit me up on Facebook. You'll see my name here in a minute. But this is kind of me trying to keep this going. Okay. There's more people that I want to get on here. I'm a what? Oh, Enigma. Ha! All right. Like I said, you don't have to come on. It's totally cool. I understand. But I don't really. Hey, Fred, absolutely. And actually, Fred, you need to hit me up on what I bought yesterday. You'll enjoy it. Yeah. You know what? And I'm gonna say this: you don't have to put your face on camera. I think if you go back and look at Mad Productions design, or Mad, yeah, I gotta. He just showed his bench and what he was working on, and he didn't put himself on camera, which is totally acceptable because I understand. Yeah, no, yeah, Mad Genius. That was the one I was thinking of. He just put the camera on his bench on what he was working on, and we just kind of made it work, right? So I understand that. I'm looking into the witness protection program. Mopar, you're not helping at the moment. Yeah, it's. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Joe is in the witness. You guys are funny. But anyway, I'd love to get you guys on. Just, but that's my spiel for the next show. I will talk to Tyler here in a minute, and I will see you guys. So that's basically the episode for today. I what about a billionaire? What? Okay, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Okay. But anyway, that was today's episode. I really had a fun time getting to know Tyler. And hopefully you guys, some of these guys will hit me back and we'll keep the show rolling on. I've got enough people to do another month or so, and that's kind of I just all right. See you guys next week. Bye.